So, liebe MySports Stream TV Freunde, heute starten wir, das habt ihr gemerkt, mit einer knapp 7-minütigen Verspätung. Der Countdown hatte einfach verschlafen. Das passiert, das kommt vor. Erstmal freue ich mich ganz herzlich, dass ihr wieder so zahlreich erschienen seid und wir freuen uns heute auf eine ganz, ganz besondere Folge, denn ich habe einen ganz besonderen Gast aus dem fernen Dänemark, aber da sitzt sie gerade gar nicht, denn sie ist uns gleich aus London zugeschaltet. Es ist die Lene Corrigan und die Lene wird uns einiges über die MICE-Destination Kopenhagen in Dänemark erzählen. Ihr kennt oder viele von euch kennen Kopenhagen. Es ist eine wunderschöne Stadt, ein toller Hotspot. Und die Lene hat euch einen Film mitgebracht, die Lene hat euch eine Präsentation mitgebracht und natürlich, das solltet ihr tun, ihr könnt der Lene auch eure Fragen stellen. Dazu nutzt doch bitte einfach direkt die Kommentarleiste hier unter dem Facebook-Livestream. Zunächst einmal sage ich Hello London, London calling, hello Lene, how are you?
Good morning. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. So thank you for your time. So please, would you introduce yourself for our audience that they have an impression who you are and so on, please?
Of course, and thank you for having me. Good morning, everybody. My name, as Peter said, is Lene Corrigan. I am head of the business development in the meetings and incentive team at the Copenhagen Convention Bureau. I am based in London, look after a lot of the international markets, including the UK, of course, but also work very much on other markets like Germany. So thank you for having me here today and for joining our call.
Dear Lene, thank you very much. Before we start with your beautiful presentation, and you will tell us a couple of insights and hotspots and news about Copenhagen, please let me ask the question, how is the actual situation in Copenhagen in fact of the COVID-19 pandemic? Have you some information for us and for our audience?
Of course, like all other countries, I guess, around the world, this has been a terrible thing, both, well, for all of us personally and work-wise. It's a challenging time for us. But the good news coming out of Copenhagen is that things are turning. We are seeing very low numbers now. People are returning to their office spaces. Schools are open for all the younger students. More students have gone back to school this week. Restaurants, cafes are open. And we're hoping by June that all our sort of attractions, museums, zoos will once again be open to the public so we can all go back out and enjoy our city. From an events perspective, at the moment they still have a restriction on gatherings. At the moment it's max 10 people, but also again in June we're hoping for an increase on that. But the social distancing measurement has been reduced to 1 meter. Due to, of course, the numbers being much better as we've been going through the weeks. So it's positive, it's cautious, but it's good news. Our borders are still closed, but as I'm sure you're aware of in Germany, there's lots of talks at the moment of whether the first border that will open will in fact be between Denmark and Germany. So fingers crossed for all of us that soon things will start looking up for everybody across the world.
Yes, ladies, that sounds very good. Just give us hope to join your country for events and incentives soon. We all hope that over the summertime, you know, the normal life come back to us, and we cross the finger that will be. So before we start with your presentation, where you will explain us a little bit more about Copenhagen and the options, possibilities for events, incentives, product presentations, and of course congresses. You have a nice video for us, and I think we start for the audience to show them the beautiful video about Copenhagen. So ich sage an der Stelle, liebe Freunde, einmal Film ab.
Victor
Thank you very much, Peter. So, yes, thank you again for having me here today, for tuning in to learn a bit more about Copenhagen. I'm sure there's probably some of you who've been there before. So for some of you, hopefully this is a bit of an update, and for others, I'm sure there'll be some new and interesting facts. So Copenhagen is in fact where I was born. It's my home city, though I have lived abroad for many years. But every time I go back, I come back to home. Home is where the heart is, isn't it? So let's have a look. So as I said earlier, we do sincerely hope it will soon be time to meet again. Copenhagen has many times been voted one of the world's most livable cities. It's a city full of life. It's a safe, it's a healthy city. It's a very sustainable city. So, and all of these are things that we really want to start sharing with our delegates and guests coming back to Denmark. But I'll take you through, first of all, a few practical things about the city, and then we'll go into more details about activities, some of the venues, and some of the tools that we have in place to assist you as event planners and make your life as easy as possible. But let's start with the more practical. So where are we? I'm sure you know we're just above you in Europe. But what people often don't know is how well connected Copenhagen is as an international hub. We have direct flights from 190 international destinations across the world. But obviously important for you, direct flights from 9 destinations in Germany straight into Copenhagen. So really easy to reach. And of course, depending on where you are in Germany, also very easy to reach Denmark and Copenhagen by train as well. So really good access, which of course we all know is key when we're planning our events. When you then get to Copenhagen, this is a little map. If you look down in the right-hand corner, you'll see Copenhagen Airport. Now we have the shortest transfer time of any European capital city of just 12 minutes into the city centre. One train running from the airport into our canal area and waterfront, and the other train line going straight into our central station and the Tivoli Gardens. So coupled with really short flying times, also the transfer into the city, really, really easy, which of course means for an event, you get there really quickly, and also you can get on with your event very quickly. And in some cases, it actually means that actually the events you host in Copenhagen can be shorter in duration if it's a meeting or, you know, a board member gathering than maybe in other cities. And as we all know, less days means less money. So financially, sometimes more of a benefit to you as well as an organizer and for your clients. Oh, sorry, go the other way. Oh, I do apologise, pressing the wrong button here. So when you get into Copenhagen city centre, as you can see here, it's a very compact city. We've got water, canals running in and around the city. It's very low rise. And everywhere you go, there's a real sense of space. All the main hotels are in the core of the city. And it does mean that when you're organising your events and you also then got to transfer people to a dinner venue, it's really, really easy to do so. And in many cases, you're able to walk to the venue after the evening or the day's meeting or whatever it is that you've been up to throughout the day. Copenhagen is a city designed for life. It's a city full of beautiful architecture, as you would expect. We're known for Danish design. And it's a very inspirational city to walk around. All these beautiful new modern building that sits alongside the waterfront. And at the same time, you know, we have this cool, trendy side to it as well with our meatpacking district, lots of bars, cafes and restaurants. You know, all of those things that's nice to include after your meeting or congress that you've been to, or for an incentive as well. So a very sort of inspiring, trendy, edgy city. At the same time, though, we are one of the oldest monarchies in the world. So we have a really long tradition of history, and our royal family is very well loved by the Danes. And in and around the city, you will see castles and manor houses, which can also be used and hired for events. So you have a city that shows two very different sides to it. So all depending on your delegates, you can choose just the right venue or just the right hotel that will then match the needs and the likes of the group that you're working with. as I mentioned, we are a very safe city and we're a very clean city. We've always been very proud of the clean and city that we've got surrounding us, whether it's the beautiful waterways, which are actually so clean that we can swim in them. And as you can see from the picture, we very often do. Most people in the summer, but also some brave the cold waters in the winter and jump in the water. But also we're surrounded by green parks and lots of beautiful areas in the city. And as I said, keeping this really beautiful and clean is very key to us. And that, of course, goes hand in hand with also everywhere being very healthy. And, at the moment, of course, we all know that's really key for everybody. Sustainability is something that's incredibly important to us as a city and always has been. We've always been known for being one of the front runners when it comes to whether it's recycling, having healthy events, running events that's more sustainable. We know this industry has to work hard at being sustainable, and it's something we hope and believe will continue to be on the agenda when people start meeting again. At the moment, we're ranked second on the Global Destination Sustainability Index, and that is because of all the measures that we put in place to ensure that we are as sustainable as possible. We are also, we've got 70% of our hotels are green certified, and more being added to that list as every day. As a city as well, this is not just a goal of the event industry, it's actually a goal of the government that we want to become the world's first carbon neutral capital by 2025. And it's something that everybody, whether you're in the events industry, whether you're government or whether you're, part of the local population, it's something we're all working towards together and really hoping that we will reach that goal. Gastronomy, we all know that if a delegate goes to an event and they didn't like the food, that is the first thing they'll tell you about when they come home. So this is never going to be a problem in Denmark. We've obviously had a history of being known for brewing beer, bacon, all the very traditional stuff, but that has all really changed. Now it's all about the new Nordic cuisine, locally sourced produce, restaurants using things they find in their neighborhood, but very, very locally sourced. And there's a real exciting edge to our menus as well. We have a lot of Michelin star restaurants in and around Copenhagen and Denmark. We, of course, know that not all groups will book a Michelin star restaurant, but it does mean that the level of the food and the quality throughout the city in all our restaurants is really high. And often this is something that people include in their programs as well, whether it's a cooking course or, beer tasting or gin making, lots of different things that can be done in and around the theme of gastronomy, and fits nicely with our city and what we stand for. Now, incentives and team building. Copenhagen's an exciting city, and we really hope that all delegate that visit has an opportunity to get out and explore our city. We know for many it's a case of coming for a meeting, but even so, Copenhagen's such a small, compact city that if you could include a boat ride in the evening on the way to dinner to get your delegates out to see the city, this is possible because everything is so close together in and around the city. We have our canals, and we use everything from canal boat tours for bigger groups to smaller boats that you can sail yourself. You can incorporate the history of a royal family and those traditions into let's say, treasure hunt. Of course, we've got our bikes. We have more bikes than we have cars in Copenhagen. So a lot of groups like to go out and use the bikes. And because we have cycle lanes, this is also very safe to do and can give you an opportunity to explore places that you wouldn't otherwise be able to go down with a bus. So a really nice thing to do. So we really try and encourage our groups to go out and use the city, both in the city centre itself, but also a little bit further afield. Now, I want to show you something that is quite new in Copenhagen, and it's called Copenhill. And this sort of speaks to the innovation side of our DNA, that we have a waste power plant in the centre of Copenhagen that opened last year as well. It's opened up last year as a ski slope. So basically, we had this quite extraordinary building in the city centre, and the architect thought, well, what can I do with this sloping roof? And what he did, as I said, is build a ski slope with trekking tracks. As you can see, the little walkways up along the side. It's got a climbing wall on the side of the building. And it's just a way of sort of thinking, how can we couple looking after our city with looking after and doing sort of more urban activity centres for the locals as well, and our guests coming to the city. So this is no doubt going to be one of the places that a lot of groups and incentive groups will come to visit. It has its own bar and restaurant at the top, and also its own after-ski bar. And this means that in one of the flattest countries in Europe, you can now go skiing in the capital. So just a little thing that I think says a lot about the Danes and the way that we think and how we plan, like to think outside of the box and do things a little bit differently. Outside of Copenhagen, you don't have to go very far to have some other amazing experiences. Just north of Copenhagen, we have Hamlet's Castle, which is a beautiful old royal castle where you can host events for up to 400 people in the beautiful gala dinner room in there, but also fantastic intensive activities around in the grounds of the castle. Or you can head south of the city and you get down to Camp Adventure, where we've got a new climbing park, including this amazing tree trekking opportunity. So as you can see here, this beautiful tower that rises up through the forest and gives you a magnificent view over the beautiful, beautiful countryside. So lots of different opportunities, and we as a CVB can of course advise around these things, but also connect you to DMCs who can help you organise all the details of this. Like any city, we have numerous beautiful hotels in all categories, and you'll be pleased to know that I'm not going to take you through all of them today. But what I would like to sort of tell you is that it's a city where the hotel standard is really high. Whether you go for 2-3 star hotels as well, you will find really, really high standard of accommodation. But also we have a range of 4- and 5-star hotels as well, with great conference facilities. The city at the moment has about 23,000 rooms, but we are building quite rapidly and will increase this by 7,000 rooms by next year. So really exciting times in Copenhagen. Now, we have a couple of openings, as I said. One of them is the Villa Copenhagen Hotel, which is a new 5-star property that's due to open next month, right by the central station. So that's just one of the sort of very imminent openings that are coming very soon. You can see a list here as well of some of the others that's on the cards. The Scandic hotel chain is expanding quite rapidly. There's a new convention centre by the airport called the Hangar that will also open later this year. And our convention centre, the Bella Centre, is also expanding with a new hall there as well. So it's a city where there's continuous developments and new things going on. So we're very excited for all of this to happen. Now I want to show you, we have what we call our meeting planner guide. So meetingplannerguide.com sits online and has all these different categories on there. And as a planner, you can go in, click on the category that you're interested in. So let's say you want to look at hotels. So you click on that, you get in, all the different hotels are listed in there with their contact details, with information and images, a location map. It even has a list of all the meeting facilities that they have. And you can filter. So you put in at the top how many delegates you've got, what you're looking for, and then the system will filter it for you and give you a list of those that would be good for you to look at. And this is all the time updated, so you will always have the latest information there. So a really, really useful tool. We often know, of course, then you're maybe left with 5 hotels and you still think, what am I going to do? How do I know which one is the right one for me? And that's where we, as a convention bureau team, can assist you. We're always here for any phone calls, emails, to give free advice on the city and the venues that you're looking at, to make sure that you pick the best possible match for you and your client. We offer various services, as I said, and everything's free of charge, from the venue sourcing, connecting you to partners within the city. We can assist with site inspections. At the moment, we're doing a lot of those virtually, of course, but we're basically here to help with anything that you need. I always say that our job is to make your life and your job as easy as possible. So myself and my team are always here on hand to help you out. I think that's sort of the presentation part for me. I hope that gave you a little bit of an insight into what Copenhagen's all about. If you've been before, hopefully it's inspired you to put Copenhagen back on the list when we can all travel again. But thank you for the opportunity to present this to you. And if you have any questions, please let Peter know and he can tell me and I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Dear Lene, thank you very, very, very much for this beautiful insights about Copenhagen. It was really great to hear, and especially as the slide with all the new venues and the hotel openings coming soon. You spoke about the new conference facility of the Bella Sky. Have you some more information when they exactly will be open or in roundabout?
Yeah, so at the Bella Sky and the Bella Centre, they're adding a new hall, which will be in 2 floors. As far as I'm aware, it's 7,000 delegates on each floor. That'll take, the timelines are a bit fluid at the moment because, of course, construction has also been slowed down in certain areas, but we're still hoping that it will be very early next year. That's our hope at the moment. So, but it's an exciting new addition to the Bella Centre, and it will be pillarless, so it will give other opportunities for different types of events than maybe we've been able to accommodate before. The nice thing about our convention centre is that it's in between the airport and the city, so really only a 5-minute drive from the airport, and from the Bella Centre to the city centre on our metro is only 8 minutes. So really easy to use and still let delegates have an opportunity to feel that they are actually in Copenhagen and not just at a convention centre, but they can get out and explore.
Yeah, great. I remember very well. For a couple of years, I joined together with your convention bureau a Christmas party in this place called Tivoli. It's right in the
Tivoli Gardens, yeah.
The Tivoli Gardens. It's also, I guess, it's also a very, very nice location for events. Is there are possible to rent some locations, to privatize some locations for events? Is this possible in the Tivoli Garden?
It is absolutely. Tivoli Garden is, for those who don't know, an amusement park right in the heart of Copenhagen. It's where every little Danish boy or girl would have come every summer growing up, going on the rides. As they go older, they start going to concerts and using the restaurants. And so it's a city that everybody in Denmark has a real affinity and it's close to their hearts. And we find that every visitor that comes, it's one of the top places they really want to visit, whether they come for leisure or even as a group. There are quite a few restaurants there, with capacity up to about 500 people, all different levels. Also, they've got conference facilities in there, and we have in fact had groups that's hired the whole garden. It doesn't happen very often, and it's something that of course has to be looked at very far in advance, but yeah, it is possible. And throughout the season, throughout the summer, the park's just beautiful with flowers and fountains. Then we go into the autumn and they decorate for Halloween, really beautiful with the millions of pumpkins. And then at Christmas, we have a fantastic Christmas market in there. So for an incentive group, it's an absolute must to include this in your program.
Yeah, right. So thank you, Lene. Thank you very, very much for your time and for this beautiful little introduction and presentation about Copenhagen. I say greetings to London. Please stay very healthy, you, your family, your children, and I hope to see you soon then in Copenhagen again. And thank you very much for your time to show us this short presentation. Thank you. I say goodbye to London.
Thank you so much, Peter, and thank you everybody for watching.
So, ihr Lieben, ihr habt es gemerkt, das war unsere Live-Schalte nach London und dort hat die Lene uns Kopenhagen einfach mal ein bisschen näher gebracht und wie ich fand auch eine ganz, ganz spannende Präsentation für uns dabei gehabt. Ich fand es sehr inspirierend. Ich hoffe, ihr auch. Wenn ihr Fragen habt zu Kopenhagen, über Kopenhagen, bitte dann stellt sie doch einfach in der Kommentarleiste unter dem Streaming. Wir wiederholen das Streaming natürlich auch wieder gleich nächste Woche in unseren berühmt-berüchtigten Breakfast Educational Watch Partys. Die starten allerdings schon um 5:55 Uhr in der Früh. Da müsst ihr also sehr früh aufstehen. An der Stelle sage ich herzliches Dankeschön an euch, dass ihr euch die Zeit genommen habt, uns zuzuschauen und euch habt inspirieren lassen. Ich hoffe in der Tat, es hat euch gefallen. Ich wünsche euch von ganzem Herzen, bleibt bitte gesund und ich wünsche uns und der ganzen Branche, dass wir ganz schnell wieder zurückkommen ins Tagesgeschäft, ins normale Geschehen und sage an der Stelle auf Wiedersehen, euer Peter, MySport Stream TV, nicht vergessen, mysport.com, dort findet ihr später auch eine Aufzeichnung dieses Webinars. Ich sage noch einmal Dankeschön, Grüße aus Hamburg, bleibt mir gesund, ihr Lieben, bis dann und tschüss.